Thank you very much, Travendra, and I'm pleased and honored to be on the panel with Elizabeth. I spent 20 years in a university in the Middle Atlas of Morocco, and I've always wondered what the connection was between a village and Elizabeth. The village was called Gigou, and it's right in the heart of the Middle Atlas Berber territory. So thank you for the opportunity to interact and learn from questions and participants. And I'd like to thank the Foundation and the Friends of Europe for the opportunity. If I may, I thought maybe to answer the question, to take you a little bit through our experience, which is representative of the Southern Mediterranean. We may have done slightly better than some countries in Africa or south of the Mediterranean, and others may have done better than us. But I think the experience is rich. So the COVID-19 brought out the best in Moroccan universities. From solidarity to collaboration, to lowering resistance to the new, to grappling with the unknown, and using whatever technology one can get, the course content to students, wherever they may be, in the confinement of their homes. We are now 120,000 content items richer. Some faculty have gotten better at using Moodle, Google Classroom, or Microsoft Teams to interact with their students, but the overwhelming majority have improved their radio and television presenting and broadcasting abilities. Most syllabi have been covered, and faculty are using whatever technology they feel comfortable with to review their course curriculum. Time then came for preparation for final exams. And this is when more and more student voices were coming out, complaining that the connection was too slow, too sporadic, or faulty when needed. Some even complained that the one computer in the family was shared by the other siblings and was not always accessible. The same siblings disagreed on what to watch on family TV when an important lecture for one of them was broadcast. We suddenly realized that equity and equal opportunity are issues that cannot be overlooked, that the process should not exacerbate the digital divide already in existence. The underprivileged would be left farther behind. We came to the conclusion that fairness required not to assess the learning that might have taken place from distance teaching. Having by and large covered over 70% of the curricula by March 16th, when we stopped teaching face-to-face, so the university presidents agreed with the ministry to decide students' admission to higher levels based solely on material covered until then. In our quest for how to keep the motivation of the faculty who had invested so much effort and time in content development, we agreed to use the accumulated material for review at the beginning of the academic year and for support in subsequent semesters. We also concluded that we absolutely needed to invest in the hardware and software so that all students have equal access to technology. All of this would not yield the desired outcomes if we did not invest in capacity building for the teaching staff. The 12 public universities undertook an evaluation of their experience with distance education, collecting input from both faculty and students. And in a report from the Rabat University, the oldest modern university of the country, 4 observations stood out. Number one, of the students surveyed, 29% were not satisfied with the experience. 2, while 72% of the faculty confirmed they had never used distance education before, 8 out of 10 are convinced of the usefulness of blended learning and teaching. 3, 87% intend to use distance delivery in the future. 4, and perhaps most importantly, 75% would like training and support with further efforts in distance education. So crisis and challenge, but also an opportunity. So the main goal today, in addition to equal access opportunity, is to get the faculty to a level where they master the technology well enough to move from lecturing on radio and television to teaching online. Interaction with students and monitoring their learning would contribute to important pedagogical changes, moving substantially from faculty-centered to student-centered approaches. Ultimately, this would contribute to sowing more seeds of critical thinking development and lifelong learning practices for both teachers and learners. The impact on international and intercultural education is even more challenging. Due to travel restrictions, as Elizabeth said, alleviated according to COVID-19 pandemic situation on students' mobility and international exchange programs that allowed students to discover, among others, the culture and language of their host country. As an example, 126 Moroccan students living in Wuhan were brought home on February the 2nd. By the end of 2019-2020 academic year, more than 1,000 Moroccan students in China returned to the kingdom. About 400 students moving between Morocco and Tunisia, including 233 Moroccans and 165 Tunisians, found themselves far from their country of study. End-of-year exams were ensured remotely in their home country. For the 2020 and 2021 academic year, we estimate that the number of international students newly admitted to Moroccan universities will not exceed 2,000, knowing that the Moroccan offer includes more than 5,000 new free educational places with many advantages. So only 40% are expected to show up. A lot of students stranded here in Morocco were given campus housing and were able to follow their courses remotely. In this regard, harnessing the potential of digital technology has been one of the alternative solutions to ensure the continuation of mobility programs and for students' intercultural experience. Morocco maintains its educational offer intended for international students for 2021 academic year while adapting it to current epidemiological circumstances and capitalizing on the experience acquired during the previous year. To this end, two teaching options are offered to international students. A face-to-face education for those admitted to engineering, medical, and business school and business institutions where the numbers are small and we can ensure health safety. A distance education for students in open access institutions that already have the necessary digital platforms provided with educational content and have multiple possibilities for interaction between the institutes and the students wherever they are. So a blended alternative for large class sizes, distance, and for small class sizes, face-to-face. There are, however, challenges to overcome. Some students without reliable internet, as Elizabeth said, without access and or technology, struggle to participate in digital learning. This gap is seen across countries and between income brackets within countries. For example, while 95% of students in Switzerland, Norway, and Austria have a computer to use for their schoolwork, only 34% in Indonesia and about 45-50% in Morocco. These new learning methods have made face-to-face contact and interaction between students harder than it was, which makes social and cultural exchanges impossible in these hard times. But as we all know by now, these new technologies that we have turned to have become more effective in terms of learning and gaining knowledge. In fact, it has made students communicate differently. Virtual friendships, acquaintances, distance does not matter as much since students can communicate with each other and reach distant places. It has also developed new skills that are useful for life, such as the autonomy of learning, self-teaching, discovery learning, socialization through group chats and virtual friends. To what extent can the latter replace the face-to-face experience, the living together, the behavior observation and modification, and the cultural immersion remains to be seen. Many efforts are needed in that direction. So to sum up, I think we need to look into social responsibility of telecom providers to make it easy and accessible for students to get connected and to get equipment. We need to find donors and people with a stronger social responsibility to help with equipment for our students and the connection. And my final thought, the help we got from Europe, the British Council and the BBC helped us with radio courses in English, helped with television courses, and helped with digital library that was freely accessible to all of our university students. The Association of Francophone Universities helped us with developing 13 units, 12 for students to manipulate the equipment and to be introduced to distance learning and take best advantages of it through personal development, through soft skills, study skills, and with a unit for faculty to develop distance teaching materials that we're to use now as we launch the school year. So we're very grateful for the support, for the understanding, and we're also grateful for the opportunity to maybe achieve a qualitative jump in the use of technology while we have a lower resistance level from faculty and staff. And I'll be happy to take questions and interact with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was fulsome and explained a lot. I like the way you went from,